First, I want to thank the Rav so much for coming all the way from the valley, from his own Keilah, and spending this evening with us. I have a lot of Hakar Tov for the Rav, a lot of thanks for the time he gives us. I didn't go through the whole book, okay? But this is a sefer that I learned with him, just parts of it at the beginning. And as you can tell, I wrote a lot of notes because it's in Hebrew. But the fact is that this changed the dynamic of how I viewed my relationship and my marriage. And this helped so much. And it's the reason and the key motivation for having tonight. And having to put the string lights up was also a blessing. They're nicely dug. He can attest to it, right? Good, secure, great. He's a contractor, that's why I pointed him out. Anyways, tonight's not a typical shiur. A lot of you guys are very personable and down to earth, and I know you guys at a friend-to-friend basis. And I want you guys to really just open up, because this is your marriage. This is your life. This is your kid's life. Your kid's gonna look up to you, and you don't want them to ever look up at you screaming and yelling. That's the worst thing you can do. And not only that, but the last person you want to yell at is your wife. Have you ever gone to Whole Foods or the Ralph's and yell at the cashier at the top of your lungs? No, but you're gonna yell at the person you love? Absolutely not. It's just that we don't have the full control in that moment. And Rabbi is going to help teach us how to have the control over those moments, how to deal with in-laws, because we all have them, right? They're not our parents, but they try to enforce the laws on us as if they're our parents. So the Rabbi will speak to that a little bit. However much we can get to, we will get to. And the rest, hopefully we'll do this very, very soon, another time. So without further ado, I'm going to call the Rav up. And I also want to say one last thing. The reason why this is important is that this is a muscle we have to keep on working on. Shalom Bayis is something that you keep on working on no matter how old you are, okay? You see 80-year-olds with terrible marriages. That's because they didn't work on it. You have to constantly be working on it, and don't be ashamed. At the end, I'm going to turn off the camera, and we're going to have a personal question, one-on-one question, okay? If you have a personal question you want to ask, go ahead and ask the rabbi. If it's super sensitive, I got a Google Forms up on the calendar invite I sent you guys. You can put your question there. I don't know who sent it. If it's super sensitive or personal, you can put the question there. It's anonymous. It gets sent to me anonymously. We go to years and years and years to learn how to become a doctor, a neurologist, right? We go for a month to become a filmmaker, right? And we spend a lot of time at doing this and really becoming the best at it. But the one thing we don't spend so much time on is how do we become a perfect spouse? How do we become that husband or that wife, right? We don't spend time learning, and it's an educational thing. There are tons of books, and they're relying on thousands of years of Torah and education that marriage has always been. That's the only reason why we exist, is because marriage exists. So we exist because of that, and we have all this knowledge from thousands of years that is brought down by Rabbeim, like Rabbi Horowitz. So without further ado, Rav, thank you for your time, and I hope that we can do this and make this even larger and larger as the months go by. Thank you guys for coming, seriously. Thank you, Rav. Just sit here, I'll sit back. For the first part, this is for you. Okay.
Chazal tell us that Peischim b'chvod achsanya. When you are about to speak somewhere, you should speak first about the place that you are speaking in. Well, I thought I came far. Wow. So the good thing about speaking in Menachem's house is he just gave the entire shir in 2 minutes. I really have nothing left to say. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Chazak u'baruch. This really was many years in the making, because we did learn together. We did learn Shalom Bayis together, and you took the messages to heart. And that's why you moved 30 minutes a walk away from the shul, so nobody can see what you and your wife do over here in the privacy of your own home, building the Bayit Ne'eman b'Yisrael. And it should always be a Bayit Ne'eman b'Yisrael. And it should be a house that is filled with chesed, a house that is filled with Torah, a house that is filled with simcha, with beautiful children that are holech b'darchei Hashem, that are going in the way of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So thank you for inviting me. And thank you for the wonderful weather. This is so much better than the valley. Now I know why you live here. And Bezat Hashem. And I saw all the guys standing around in the bar over there in the back before. L'chaim, l'chaim, the Shalom Bayis. L'chaim, the Shalom Bayis. Rabotai, it's going to take much more than a l'chaim to save your Shalom Bayis. Trust me. Trust me. But I want to make a hakdam. I want to make an introduction over here, and that is, we're not here because you have bad marriages and you need to learn how to save your marriage. You're here because you all have probably good marriages. Some of you have great marriages. Some of you could be doing a little better than you are. And we're trying to take a good marriage and make it great tonight. We're not here because we're all falling apart, and we're here because we don't want to go home and we can't stand seeing our wives and everything is crazy. We're here because we're married. We got married for a reason. We're going to learn about that tonight. We try our best to be good husbands, and tonight, Bezrat Hashem, we're going to learn how to be better husbands. A woman who is a world-class marriage therapist. She deals with some of the most difficult marriages and challenging husbands and wives that you could imagine. And she told me once the following. In all of her years of experience, she finds that the culprit in most marriages, the reason that most marriages are falling apart and are struggling and there's strife and there's screaming and there's yelling, is because of the women. It's nice to know, isn't it? It's not your fault.
I knew it.
It's not your fault. She told me they know how to nag very well, and they can put their pressure on you, and they're your best. They're the policeman, they're the fireman, they're the Rabbi, they're the mashkiach, they're the Rosh Hashiva, all wrapped up into one. And they put so much pressure on their husbands, they are ruining many of the marriages in Klal Yisrael. So we can go home now and tell our wives this.
We record this one.
Oh, it's being recorded, don't worry. But, you know, the Meraglim, they went into Eretz Yisrael, they saw how beautiful it was. The fruits are beautiful, the land is luscious, everything is amazing. But, then they destroyed all of Klal Yisrael for history, and that's why we have Tisha B'Av. I would like to say, but, I'm not a therapist. I don't have a fancy diploma on the wall that sits behind me when I meet with couples. But I've met with enough couples over the years to know that sadly, many of the problems in marriage are coming from the husband. Many of the issues between a husband and a wife, many of the women that will sit in front of me and they will wail tears, crying over the state of their marriage, is because the husband does not understand what it means to be a husband. And once you learn why you got married, and once you learn what marriage is all about, and once you learn what your time together with your wife was meant to be spent for, so a lot of the ridiculous things that we do in our marriages, the things that we say, the faces that only a husband can make to his wife. And Persians, you guys have the best faces. Those faces, the faces look like you have like indigestion. Your wife is giving you indigestion. You'll stop doing that because you realize it's killing your wife and it's hurting your marriage, and you don't understand why you walk in the house and you're so stressed, and you don't understand why do my wife and I always scream and yell and fight it with each other. We're going away. You know, it's the worst. Some of you could plan probably a vacation much better than I could. You've got all the connections, Cancun, Cabo San Lucas, some intimate place in Hawaii over there in Maui where nobody knows where you are, and you have in your mind you're going to have the most amazing, amazing week away with your wife. How many of you have been on one of these dream vacations and you could not wait until it was over? How could that be? You spent $5,000. You planned for months on end. You found exactly the right house that overlooks the bay where the sun comes in the morning. You had dreams of all the things you're going to do while you're there. And you're there every day, stress after stress after stress. How could it be? And the answer is because we don't understand what marriage is all about. We don't understand what kind of a house we are supposed to build and what kind of a relationship we are supposed to forge together with our wives. It's hashgacha that we are having this year on tonight, which is just a day after Shabbos, where we read in the parsha that Bilam looks out, Bilam HaRasha, a wicked man, looks out at the Jewish people. He wants to curse them, but the only thing that comes out of his mouth are brachot. And one of the famous brachot that Bilam says about Klal Yisrael is, Ma toivu ohalecha Yaakov. How good are your tents, Yaakov, the Jewish people. He's not talking about the camping that the Jewish people like to do. He's talking about an ohel. The tent means the Jewish house. Matov, how good is a Jewish house? What is so good about a Jewish house? It's the midot, tovot. It's the good midos in that house. It's the ava, it's the love between a husband and a wife in that house. It's the kavod, it's the respect that we give to our spouses, to our wives in that house. It's the gentle way that we speak, the voice that we use. There's a voice that you use with your friends when you're hanging out and you're screaming and you're yelling and you're having a blast. But there's a voice that you use with your wife. Divrei chachamim benachas nishmoyin. The words of the wise are heard when they are spoken softly. We don't scream. We don't get angry. We don't raise our voice. Between us and our wives, we speak gently, softly, kindly, peacefully, all of the time. Said Bilam HaRashi is looking out on the Jewish people. You ever see a woman camping out in the desert? You ever see a husband and a wife and all their kids camping out in the desert? You think that looks very glamorous? It doesn't look so. There's one. Come on in for the cup, please. It doesn't look so glamorous. And yet, what did Bilam, thank you, what did Bilam see? Bilam saw the husbands and the wives under pressure, under stress, schlepping around, moving here, moving there, going here, going there, kids running inside and out of the house, screaming and yelling, pulling off their diapers, wiping it on the walls. All the wonderful things that our children love to do and drive us crazy. Bilam looked and he says, wow, look how beautiful a Jewish house is. With all the stress of parnassah, with all the stress of living in Los Angeles, with all the kina, tava, the kavod that goes on, all of you want to become multi-millionaires tonight. And this wife next door, she's more beautiful than your wife. And those kids are better than your kids. And that house is nicer than your house. And that car is better than your car. And his job is better than your job. With all of that stress. Matayvu ohalecha Yaakov. Look how good the house is of Klal Yisrael are. A husband and a wife who treat each other in the right way, who talk to each other calmly and peacefully, who can listen to the opinion of the other person before they said, no, that's not right, you're wrong again. Wow, said Bilam, I'm jealous of such a house. When I was a chassan, when I first got married, I was learning in yeshiva in Baltimore, in Ner Yisrael. And I came back right after the Sheva Brachot, and we were still not yet settled into our apartment. And I wasn't able to go to the kollel yet to learn because I had to take care of my wife. Was coming from Los Angeles. She had no family, no friends. She knew nobody in Baltimore. I couldn't leave her right away, so we were living in somebody's basement until our apartment was ready for us. And every morning I was going to a small little shul there in Baltimore, and the Rav of that shul was the name of Rabbi Vitzik. He was a student of the Chavetz Chaim. For you, that would be like hearing student of the Ben Ish Chai. Student of the Chavetz Chaim, the biggest tzaddik in the world. And I was learning in the mornings with a friend of mine, and he said one morning, Rabbi Vitzik, my friend just got married a week ago. Give him a bracha. Give him a blessing. So the student of the Chavetz Chaim looked at me and he gave me the following blessing. May the Shekhinah always be comfortable in your home. That's it. Nothing else. Do you know what that bracha means? That means that if HaKadosh Baruch Hu would knock on your door at any time of the day, or night, or afternoon, you will greet him at the door with a smiling face, and your wife standing right next to you with a smiling face and saying, come in, Hashem. Enter into our bayit, Ne'eman b'Yisrael. Come in, please. We're so happy to have you here. If you have Matovu Ohalecha Yaakov, if you have a house that is good, if you have a house, V'yedata ki shalom ba'ohalecha, says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I know that there is peace in your home. Darchea darchei noyam v'chol netivotea shalom. The ways of the Torah are noyam, are pleasant, and all of the netivot, all of the pathways are shalom, they are peace. Says Rav Dan Segal, one of the great rabbis of our generation, you know what a netiv is? A netiv is when it's a pathway that you're going on, and you know the destination that you're heading to. When you get in your car tonight to come to this shiur, and you put into your Waze 432 South Roxbury Avenue, Beverly Hills. That's why he moved so far away from the shul. Over there, it's just Pico Robertson, Beverly Hills. And the Waze told you have 7 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes, however far you're coming from. When you started driving, you knew where the destination was that you're going to end up at. The Torah gives us a destination. And in our homes, the destination is Shalom Bayis, peace and harmony in the house. That's the goal. That's the destination. That's where we're heading. That's where we want to reach. Now you have to get on the path and know how to get there. And sometimes after 1 month or 2 months or 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, you're wondering, how come there's no Shalom Bayis between us? Why are we always arguing and fighting with each other? I look at my friends, they always seem like they're happy. We go to their house for Shabbos. We'll speak about that one other day. About going to homes of other young couples for Shabbat meals. She's such a good cook. She's so much nicer. She dresses so much better. I like the way she wears her makeup. Be very careful where you go for Shabbos. Don't go to somebody's house where you're going to be staring at his wife instead of yours. You know why? Because your wife sees every little stare that you make. You know that when you're at a chasana, at a wedding, and your wife is home with the kids, she knows when you're staring over at the Ezra Nashim over there? You know, she calls exactly. What are you doing right now? No, nothing. I'm by the wedding. No, I know you're looking. I know you're looking. I'm not doing anything. She knows everything. So you go to somebody's house, another young couple, and you're complimenting the woman of the house. Wow, Rivka. Do you call her by the first name? Of course, you're such good friends. Rivka. Wow, the chal is so good. Wow, Rivka. The gorm is the sabe. Wow. This tastes like my mother's. And your wife is thinking to herself, he's been telling me for 5 years, you don't know how to make gorm sabe. Whatever you call that stuff over there. Gondi, yeah. You've been telling your wife 5 years. Doesn't really taste like Mama June. I'm sorry. And here you're going to the neighbor and you're telling her, wow, mamash, like from Shiraz, ma. Boy, you're going to get it when you go home that day after that meal.
And they're not going to tell you why.
We're not that stupid. You're trying to create a relationship with your wife that is so outstanding, that is so special, that is so unique, that even Bilam Harasha, the biggest Rasha in the world, would look into you and say, wow, I'm jealous of that marriage. I'm jealous of that love. I'm jealous of the respect they give to each other. I'm jealous of the warmth of the Kedusha. I'm jealous of the simcha that they have together. Matovu ohalecha Yaakov. Look at the goal that they're trying to reach. They're trying to get to that place called Shalom Bayis. A house of midot tovot, a house of Kedusha, a house of bracha, of simcha, respect. Speaking gently and softly to your spouse, to your wife. Listening to what she has to say, even when she's wrong. She's not always wrong, just usually. But even when she's wrong, you listen. Ooh, it's a good point you're making. It's a very good point that you're making. And sometimes you'll even be mavate, you'll give in. There's a beautiful story. The tzaddik of Yerushalayim was known, as he was known, was Rav Aryeh Levine. There's a whole book about him. There's thousands of stories about his Ahavat Yisrael, the way that he took care of Klal Yisrael. He loved everybody. He had a heart of gold beyond belief. He and his wife, they went through so many tzorot, so many tragedies you cannot imagine. Besides poverty and hunger, they lost, I think, maybe 3 children in their life, 3 tzaddikim, little children. They were always under the assault of the public and this and that. They went through a lot. Listen what they did when they got engaged. They were 2 very poor people. And after the engagement, they sat down with each other. And Rabbi Levine said to his kala, he said, you know, the minhag is that the chatan gives to the kala beautiful jewelry. He was lucky he wasn't Persian. He said, we have to give beautiful, a bracelet, maybe 1 bracelet. You have to give like a whole jewelry shop to make your wife happy by the engagement. And if you don't, the wedding might not happen. So he said, I know the custom is to give jewelry to the kala, maybe a bracelet, maybe earrings. He said, my dear kala, my family were very, very poor. We don't have money for jewelry. I can't offer you anything. He said, but one thing I promise you I will do. for our entire married life together. I promise you. Whenever the two of us get in a disagreement about something that I want or that you want, and we don't agree with each other, you want to go out and you want sushi, I want to go out to Pat's and get a big Baca Grande, you want to get the Tesla, I'd rather get something more low-key like a Honda, something like that. You're planning on vacation, you want to go off to the Cabo San Lucas. I said, you know what, we're fine, San Diego, we don't have the money for such an extravagant. I promise you, my dear wife, that in every situation that you and I disagree, I will always be mevater, I will give in and will have things your way. Because I want you to be happy. And this young Kala was smiling. And then she got serious and she said, my dear Khatan, you know the custom is that the Kala's family makes a beautiful Khatunah. Wouldn't that be nice if that was the custom? The Kala's family makes a beautiful Khatunah. I know someone who got married 20 years ago. His wife's family wanted such a fancy wedding, he's still paying off the bills from that wedding. So she said, they want to make a beautiful wedding, a nice big hall with music and catering and so many people. She said, I'm so sorry. We're very poor. We don't have money to make a fancy wedding. We can't afford the top-notch caterer. We can't afford a band and a big hall. It's going to be very small. I'm very sorry. But one thing I promise you. Every time that we disagree and I want one thing and you want the other, I'll be mevater, I'll give in. And we'll have it your way, not my way. Can you imagine such a marriage? Each one is always thinking about the other person. Not what I want, not what I need, not what I'm expecting. I'm always thinking about what is going to make my wife happy. Because if she is happy, then you will be happy. If she is miserable, she's going to let you know how miserable she is. If you are aggravating and you are uncompromising and you have to have it your way or the highway, you're going to have a very sad, stressed out wife. And then when you sit down with the marriage therapist or the rabbi and you say, she never gives me respect. She never is mechabed me. I remember my mother and my father. She used to kiss his hand and bow down and kiss his feet. My wife never is mechabed me with anything. And you know what the answer is? Because you are not mechabed. You do not honor and respect your wife. Why would your wife respect you if you don't respect her? Why would your wife want to make you feel good if you only put her down? Why would your wife? I was once talking to a couple. And the couple, when they got married, I was by their chasana, I was by their wedding. I never saw bigger googly eyes in my life popping out of the head of this kala. It's like, those like big lollipops that you can get at the amusement park. And they look like she's going around like this the whole time. She's looking at the husband like this. And the husband's looking back at his wife. And everybody's crying and it's so beautiful. Everything was amazing. And she tells him in front of me, after so many years of being married to you, I don't even know why I was staring at you with googly eyes under the chuppah. Because if you don't respect your wife, and you don't treat her in the way that she needs to be treated, and you don't understand what makes her tick, and you don't get inside of her psyche and her essence, who she is, so then you're always disrespecting your wife. And she feels it, and then you'll never get the respect that you want. I'm telling you this from experience. There's almost never been a husband and a wife that sat down in front of me where the husband is not complaining, my wife does not respect me. She doesn't respect me when we're alone, and she doesn't respect me in front of the children. What's the matter with her? And the wife starts saying, what's the matter with me? What's the matter with you? And he said, wait, I asked you, what's the matter with you? And then they go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. There's a word that we have to know in our houses. There's one word that we never, ever say, no matter how heated the argument gets, no matter how high the emotions are flying, no matter how much pain you are in and how frustrated you are from your wife. There's one word that we never, ever let into our house. You never, ever say, mother-in-law. The D word. Maybe by you, the Sfardim, the Gimel word, get. I'll give you a get. Never. This word never enters your house. It never enters a conversation. You never use it as a threat against your wife, ever. The minute you say that word, the minute you insinuate, I would be so much happier if I never got, the minute you're destroying your marriage. One of the greatest Misadre Gittin, which means a rabbi that was responsible for tens of thousands of gets across the world, was a man by the name of Notter Greenblatt. He would travel from one end of the world to the other, usually at his own expense. After he passed away, they made a cheshbon, they made a calculation that he flew millions of miles, 1,000,000+ miles in his life, all over the world, to make sure that there would be no woman that would get stuck without being divorced, if that was what was supposed to happen. Otherwise, she can never get married again. So he used to fly all around America, all around the world, Eretz Yisrael, England, Europe, wherever you could imagine. And he had certain families that he would stay with on a regular basis. He would come to that community, and they would take care of all the gittin they had to do. So he was staying by a certain place, I believe in Buffalo, New York, or Rochester, New York. And he was staying by the Rav and the Rebbitzin. And he was busy like writing a get, and he was busy dealing with all these things. And the Rebbitzin says, you know, Rabbi Greenblatt, I never saw what a get looks like before. Could you show me one? And he looks at this woman, he says, Chas v'shalom. And he says, come with me. And they walk out of the house. And he closes the door behind them and he says, you never say that word in your house. It is the most painful thing in the world. Never say that word inside of this house. But now that you asked, he said, and we're outside of your house, if you're curious, I'll show you what it looks like. But in the house, a get does not exist. You need to think about all the arguments you've had with your wife over the years. And you need to ask yourselves, how many times have either of us, husband or the wife, she said, I can't take it anymore. I want out of this marriage. I can't take it anymore. And you're threatening her. I'll go to RCC right now. I'll go right now. I swear on the Sefer, I'll go right now. How many times do you say the D word, divorce? How many times do you say, it would be so much better, I don't even know why we got married. You know what those words do to your wife? They kill her. When you say, I don't know why we got married, you've just killed your wife. Because when you were standing under the chuppah and you were staring at each other and you were vowing to one another that you were going to stand by each other's side forever and ever and ever. And you sat by every Sheva Bracha and they were saying all the wonderful things about the Chatan and all the wonderful things about the Kala. And you were dreaming and she was dreaming about the wonderful life you're going to have. That's why you got married. And now you tell her those words. I don't know why we ever got married. We should get divorced. Never, ever say, take it out of your vocabulary. And if you ever said it before, you have to make sure you never say it again. And if it hurt your wife, you need to go home and apologize. My dear, wonderful, beautiful, perfect, amazing wife, who I love more now than I loved even when we were under the chuppah, when you were 35 pounds less. Some of you are saying, only 35 pounds less? But you didn't know that's what happens when women have children? Were you living in some like illusionary world? She's going to have 17 children and she's still going to be a size 0. No, it doesn't work like that. Every child adds on another dress size. And you should be happy with every inch. Because every inch is another child, another neshama, another bracha, a more siyata d'shemaya that HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought to your house. And you tell her in those most private moments, wow, you're even more beautiful than you were when I married you. That's called Shalom Bayis. But when you attack and you criticize and you put her down and you make her feel bad and you don't look at her anymore smiling when she comes, do you know what it's like for a woman to have had 2 or 3 children in like 4 or 5 years and her body is not bouncing back to what it was when she was a size 0.5 at the chuppah? And every dress that she puts on, she feels like she's 100 pounds overweight. And she goes to the store and she goes through 1,000 dresses and she walks away maybe with a pair of shoes at the end of the day. And then she says, my gosh, my feet got so fat. What happened to me? And you can't tell your wife how beautiful she is because she weighs a little bit more than she did when you were dating her and when you got married? Shame on you. That's all I have to say. Shame on you. You're allowed to get a belly. You're allowed to lose your hair. Yeah, you're allowed to come home drunk every once in a while. You go to shul and you tell your wife, I'm just going to daven Mariv. And then you sit around and you schmooze for the next 2 hours till you go home. And your wife has no idea where you are. You're allowed to be out of shape. You're allowed to smoke. Whatever you guys smoke these days. But your wife is not allowed to gain 15 pounds. She just did the biggest crime in the world. And you're not going to tell her, my dear, you're so beautiful. Wow. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. You're killing her. You're mamish killing your wife. Every time that you don't tell her the words that she needs to hear, and you use the wrong words. Every time you don't look at her in the right way, you look at her in the wrong way. I once had a friend, he was a chassan, he was engaged. And his wife was from Los Angeles. And he came for Sukkot, to be here, to celebrate together with her and her family. And this girl, the Kala, she went out before Sukkot. She bought like a new outfit for every day of Yom Tov and every day of Chol Hamoed that this boy was going to be in town. And every day she was waiting for the Chatan to tell her, wow, what a nice dress. Wow, you look so pretty. Wow, you look so nice. Wow, another new dress, another new dress. And she's gonna giggle and say, it's all for you, yes. She's waiting every day for the guy to say something. In 5 days, he said nothing. She's driving him to the airport to drop him off for his flight back to New York where he's going. And she says, listen, I'm just going to pull up a little bit slow, jump out, because that's how we're going to leave each other right now. She says to him, did you notice all the new clothes that I had over Yom Tov? And he says, no. She said, do you know that I went shopping before you came? And I bought one outfit for the day, and one outfit for the night, and another one for the day. And we spent 3 days of Chol Hamoed. We went to the zoo. I had a zoo outfit, and I had a boating outfit, and I had a hiking outfit. Did you notice that? Was I supposed to? Yes. I did everything for you. He said, wow, you look so pretty. Wow, very nice. Your wife gets dressed in the morning. Who's she getting dressed for? Her boss? For the kids that are going to put their yogurt and their cereal over her? No. She's getting dressed for you. She's putting on makeup for you. She's putting on this babushka thing on her head for you. She gets new shoes for you. You better hope she doesn't have one with the pointy little tips over there. It's easy to kick you like that. She's doing everything for you. And you could be oblivious and not see. And then you think, wow, is that a new outfit? Wow, it's so nice. Those new shoes. Wow, you did it. Your makeup, it looks like a clown. I mean, it looks so a little different today. Everything she's doing for you. If you don't compliment, and you don't tell her how beautiful she is, and you don't say thank you so much for always looking your best, you're killing your wife. You're destroying her. Rav Chaim Friedlander writes in his kuntras, in his book for chasanim, for grooms, for young men that get married, all of your wife's self-worth and value, all of her self-esteem, all of her good feelings about themselves come from one person in this world and one person only. It comes from you. She's looking for your compliments. She's looking for your smiles. She's looking for your appreciation. She's looking for your gratitude. You think it's easy to cook a meal with a little baby in your arms? You think it's easy to make a Shabbos meal when she has the stress of maybe paying the bills? Maybe your job's not going so well and she's working very hard, and then you expect her to make sourdough bread and regular challah. And she says, oh, I used an egg. Oh, chas v'chalila, we don't use eggs in our challah. You have to make new challah, water challah. And she's doing it all for you. And she's looking to you to get all of the credit, all of the support, all of the accolades, all of the gratitude. And if you don't say thank you, and you don't appreciate, and you don't build up her ego the way that she needs, she feels like a shmata. Persians know what a shmata is? A rag. She feels like a shmata. You're the one that makes her feel like a queen. And you're the only one in the entire world that can do that. Many years ago, my wife and I, when we had the schus to learn in Kollel, in Ner Yisrael, so we went through this tekufa, this period where I felt I was becoming like this big tzaddik. I stopped eating red meat. And even on Shabbos, I told my wife, you know what, no more red meat. We have to be tzaddikim, we have to be parish, we have to separate ourselves from all the olam hazeh, the pleasure of this world. No more red meat. Okay, my wife, she's a good wife. She went along with me. After about 6-7 months, I forget what it was like Shabbat, Rosh Chodesh. I said to my wife, I said, you know what, it's been like 6-7 months we had meat. It's Rosh Chodesh, it's Shabbat. in honor of Shabbos, in honor of Rosh Chodesh, let's get a roast for this Shabbos. She says, no problem, whatever you want. I'm doing everything for you anyway. I go to the store, I buy her favorite cut of meat. I bring it home like, Korban, here it is, my dear wife. And I give it to her, and she begins preparing it, and I don't know, I had this bad feeling inside that my wife forgot to put salt on the meat. So I kept like sneaking around in the kitchen to see if I could figure it out. Couldn't figure it out, but I had this feeling that she forgot the salt. And I thought to myself, what a disaster. I didn't eat meat for 7 months. At least it should taste good tonight. And she forgot the salt. I went to shul Friday night. And as I'm walking home from shul, I'm telling myself, I'm giving myself a mussar shmooze. I said, listen, you know she forgot the salt. And you know the meat's not going to taste the way you want it to taste. You know that. And I kept telling myself, but your wife's feelings are more important than the meat. And I said, just take a bite and put on an act like, wow, this is the greatest meat I ever tasted in my life. It's incredible. Just make my wife feel good. And I'm chazing over, I'm reviewing the whole shmooze the whole time home. I come home, we sing Shalom Aleichem, Eishes Chayil, I make Kiddush, we make Hamoitzi, everything is going great. Chicken soup, you guys know what chicken soup is? Chicken soup. It's the only food that we eat with a spoon in the Ashkenazi house, yeah?
You filter fish first, no?
No. Salmon, we took it from the Sephardim, we took salmon. Fish, soup. And now comes my wife serving the main meal, and here comes the meat. And she's so proud. She was slaving away in the kitchen. She made it, looks delicious. It smells so good. I could smell there's no salt. Cutting into the thing. She's watching me like a hawk. She can't wait to see the smile on my face. And I'm going in my mind, I'm giving myself such mussar. Don't blow it right now. Just take a bite and smile like it's the best meat in the whole world. Since the Korban Pesach, there's never been a piece of meat like this. And I cut into the meat, and she's watching, and I put it in my mouth, and there's no salt. And I go, and my wife starts crying at the Shabbos table. Rabotai, for salt on meat, you're going to make your wife cry? Because the gondi did not taste exactly the way that you want? Because the tadik wasn't crispy exactly the way that Mama June and Baba June and everybody in your family used to make it all the way back from Tehran, from Har Sinai? Whatever your wife makes, it's the best. Nothing better. However she dresses, it's the best. Nothing better. However she looks, the most beautiful, nothing better. The Sefer HaChinuch writes, why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us a mitzvah of Shana Rishonah? What's Shana Rishonah? First year of marriage. Can't go out to the army. You don't go out to do community affairs. You don't go out of town. You stay home. Shana Acha Shlema, 1 full year to be together with your wife. Why? Says the Sefer HaChinuch, because Hashem wants that every husband becomes obsessed with his wife. Only the way she looks, only the way she smiles, only the way her perfume smells, only the shoes that she wears, only the way that she cooks, only her, that's it. She's the best in the whole wide world, in my world. Your wife is the best in your world, and yours is the best in your world, and my wife is the best in my world, and that's the way that it works. so that you don't notice anybody else besides your beloved wife. And then everything she does, and everything she says, and everything she cooks, and everywhere she goes, and every idea that she has, and all the aggravation and everything she does, it's perfect exactly the way that it is. Said Bilam Arasha Matoivu O Alecha Yaakov, how good are your tents, Jewish people. A house that is built like that, with so much love and respect and patience and understanding and acceptance. What could be better than that? Nothing in the world could be better than that. And that's what we're striving for in our marriages. We're striving for a house where your wife knows that you love her. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands, but you can wave a hand in your head. How many of you here honestly believe that you've done such an amazing job since you got married until today that your wife knows beyond the shadow of a doubt that you love her no matter what, no matter when, no matter where, no matter what she does, when you come home and she had a hard day and she's sitting on the couch and the mucus is running out of her nose and the mascara is coming down her face and she looks like a schmuck and the food for dinner, there is no food for dinner, and she's having a meltdown, a breakdown, she's falling apart. How many of your wives know in that moment you love her no less than when she was in Cabo San Lucas on your honeymoon and she was making your head spin around like this? Does your wife know that? Does she know that no matter what she does, she's always going to find favor in your eyes? Or does she feel sometimes you get angry with her and you get upset and you raise your voice and you make the face and you use the body language and the veins are popping out over here and the smoke is coming out of the nose? And because you're Sephardi, you think that you're allowed to do that. But you're not. Maybe in the old country you could get away with that. But guess what, my friends? You're in America now. And in America, in 2024, it doesn't work like that anymore. First of all, your wives are probably not 20 years younger than you. They're probably all within a few years of your age. And they all probably went to some kind of schooling and they're educated. And they're with it and they're holding in the world. And they have Pilates and they have their cafes and they have their time out with their girlfriends. Girls' night out. You have boys' night out with your whatever you guys do. And the girls have their girls' night out and they do whatever they do. You can't behave like they behaved 1,000 years ago. But we could behave like they behaved 3,500 years ago. Ma'toivu Alecha Yaakov. We're trying to infuse in our homes goodness, sweetness, kindness, chesed. Do you know why you got married? You know why you got married? Not to live in debt for the rest of your life. Not because it's going to look good, the pictures on the mantle over there, and you can WhatsApp everybody. Yeah, here we are in Cabo. Yeah. No, that's not why you got married. The Torah says why you got married. Very simply. V'yoyma Hashem Elokim. Hashem said, Lo toiv heyois ha'adam levadoi. It is not good for a man to be by himself. Therefore, Eseloi Ezer Kenegdo, I will make an Ezer, a helper, Kenegdo, opposite him. Did any of us have a Havamina? Did any of us think that it is good for man to be by himself? We're talking about the beginning of time. And every single animal had a mate. The birds had husbands and wives. The weasels had husbands and wives. The tortoise had a husband and wife. The dogs have husbands and wives. Everybody has partners. Why would I think that it's good for man to be by himself and not have a wife and not have a partner? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, tell me, you know what, man, it's not good for you to be by yourself. I don't know that. Perhaps the Torah is telling us, each and every one of us created B'Tselem Elokim, the image of God. What does it mean to be B'Tselem Elokim? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Hashem Echad, He's one. Hashem doesn't have a partner. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't have a wife. Hashem has only Hashem. And if I'm Tselem Elokim, I have godliness that is inside of me. So maybe my godliness, my greatness, my being like Hashem will also express itself only when I'm by myself. Says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's not true. Your godliness, your greatness, your potential, your essence of who you are will only be able to express itself in this world when you have an Ezer Kenegdoi, you have a wife who's going to help bring out all of the greatness that's inside of you. You all have amazing, amazing midot. You all have amazing potential for savlanut, for patience. You all know how to have an ayin toiva, to see the good in somebody else and not resent them and look down on them. You all know how to be sweet and caring and loving and gentle. You all know how to do that. But without a wife, you'll never be given the opportunity that you need to bring out all the greatness that's inside of you. Not good to be by yourself. I'll make a woman. She's going to help you. She's going to help you become the greatest you that you could be. Do you realize the more that your wife aggravates you, the more that she frustrates you, the more that she disappoints you, the more that she burns the food, the more that she doesn't make the house look exactly the way that you want the house to look, and you have to get used to something different. I had a friend that when he got married, his wife told him she's at Macy's, and they have an amazing sale on a bedroom set. Amazing, amazing sale. A bed, a mattress, and a headboard, and the armoire, whatever, the nightstand, everything, chest. They have an amazing sale over there. She says, can I buy it? Now, this is in the olden days before you could take a picture at the store and send it to your husband or your wife to show them what it looked like. He said, well, what does it look like? Oh, she's beautiful. It's stunning. It's wood. And it's wicker. And it's so beautiful. It's so nice. And it's half price. It's an amazing price. Can I get it? He says to his wife, do you like it? Oh, I love it. It's stunning. Do you think I like it? For sure. You're going to love it. There's nothing. I've never seen anything more beautiful than this. He tells his wife, so buy it. Go ahead. She buys it. She comes home. She's so excited. She says, it's coming in 3 days. In 3 days, it's coming. You're going to see it. It's mamish amazing. And he's like, wow, it's amazing. 50% off. That's incredible. She says, wow, what a deal. It's a steal. You can't imagine. It was worth so much. Only 50%. 3 days later, his wife's at work. She says, the movers just called the store. They're delivering it now. Can you be there? I can't leave work. He said, no problem. He runs home. Macy's truck pulls up, and they start unloading the beautiful furniture. And he peeks in the box, and he says, I think you came to the wrong house. They said, no, this is yours. They bring it in. It is the ugliest, most putrid, most horrible looking bedroom set he's ever seen in his entire life. And the man is having a panic attack in his apartment by himself because it looks so bad. He calls his Rebbe and he says, Rebbe, what do I do? He said, well, what happened? He tells him, I told him, my wife calls me from Macy's. She wants to get a bedroom set, 50% off. She says, it's beautiful, it's stunning. She wants to get it. I said, go ahead. And he said, well, what happened? She got it. And so what's the problem? It's so ugly. And the Rebbe starts laughing his head off. Enjoy your new bedroom set. There's nothing that you can do. Your wife wants it. In your eyes, it should become the most beautiful bedroom set you've ever seen before. By ourselves, we'll be selfish. We'll be irate. We'll have no patience. We won't see the good. We won't give respect to other people. We'll just be these people consumed with ourselves. Not good to be by yourself, says Hashem. Rather, Ezer Kenegdai. She's going to help bring out the best of who you are. So the next time, yes.
I want to do question and answer as soon as after your.
Okay. So the next time that you are ready to get upset with your wife for something that she did to you, tell yourself, well, wait a second. This is exactly why HaKadosh Baruch Hu got us married. He got us married in order that I will be able to become a greater person from this moment right now. I'm going to become more patient, more loving, more understanding, more giving. I'm going to speak softer. I'm not going to get angry. I'm going to be selfless and not selfish. And when a person does that, you have a house. Like Bilam HaRasha said, Ma toivu o alecha Yaakov, how good are your tents is your house. Like the student of the Horowitz said, you know what the biggest bracha of Shalom Bayis is? That the Shechina should always be comfortable in your home. When you get to a point in your marriage where you feel comfortable, anybody could walk in at any time. Even your in-laws could walk in at any time, but they walk in any time that they want to. They could walk in at any time and always find you and your wife talking nicely to each other. You know that you achieved Shalom Bayis.